Hello students, this video will cover the three C's of image editing. These are three techniques that you can use to adjust any picture that you have taken to improve and make the photo pop and also just make the subject stand out. So the three C's of image editing in this class are cropping, contrast, and color. For any photograph that you take in this class, you want to adjust for these three things before turning it in. Now you have options, whether you do it on your phone or whether you do it in the computer is up to you. Some people prefer using a desktop, some people prefer using their phone and find it easier. If you're using your computer, the program that we're going to be using in class is Pixlr, the website that you used to create your product mockups last semester. But you can also use Photopea, which is a free version of Adobe Photoshop. If you have Adobe Photoshop, you can also use that. If you're going to use your phone, I would highly recommend that you try one of these three, particularly Snapseed, which is made by Google and is for Android and iPhone. It has a lot of great filters built into it, as well as a lot of really powerful adjustment and retouching tools. So I would highly recommend that you download Snapseed if you plan on editing directly in your phone. So with that, I'm going to open up Pixlr and get into the three C's of cropping, contrast, and color. So I have this picture from this summer, and it's okay. It's a good eye-level photograph, but it could be a little bit better. For one, I feel like there's a lot of extra room around it that's not necessarily helping, particularly over here on the left side. Also, there's a little slant to it. This is where you want to adjust for those kind of things. To do cropping adjustments, you're going to click this little crop tool. And first, you want to always correct for straightening. Let me get this ad out of here. First, correct for straightening by clicking here and then spinning this wheel this way or that way. It's just minor, but I think it's just a little slanted. Yeah, I think that's a little better. The vase is a little bit better. Then I'm going to just kind of come in and crop out this little part. And then when you do this adjustment, you're going to notice that a little grid pops up on your screen. The grid is there to help you create a rule of thirds composition. So in photography, you want to avoid putting your picture smack dab in the middle of your composition. It's always nicer to, usually it's a more dynamic composition if you put the subject off to an asymmetrical side. This also allows for the balance of the shadow on the left-hand side. So with that, I feel like I have a good crop. I might just adjust this back a little bit. So it's not 1.3, it's more like 0.8. And I lost that crop. So I'm gonna just recrop and hit enter. So the next C of my cropping color, my three C's of image adjustments is contrast. And with contrast, you have a couple of choices. Do you want a very high contrast image where there's very strong black and white? Or do you want a very low contrast where there's a very soft kind of subtle vibe to it? So typically what this means is it's the difference between whether it's like edgy or whether it's soft. But that's not always the case, but that's usually the case. So in this, I'm going to just kind of go into adjustments. Mostly this is going to be in either adjustments or edit adjustments, I think in Photoshop. But you're going to go to the brightness and contrast adjustment. And here's where you can play with it. If you want it to be very contrasty, turn this way up. And it looks like, see how it amplifies the dark. I like to go to the extreme so you can see the difference. And if you like it, then you kind of back off the extreme and see like, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Or you can go to the extreme opposite, create a very light contrast look to it. But honestly, in this case, you also probably want to brighten it a little bit. And you want to make, if you're doing low contrasts, don't go all the way down. But so this is kind of low contrast, and this is kind of a higher contrast picture. So for this, the light is actually really strong on this picture, so I'm going to go for low contrast edit, but again, that's a personal preference. You don't have to follow what I do, but I'm just going to do that for this image. So then the third C is the color. Here you want to decide whether you want it to be a very warm picture or a very cool picture, or whether you want to put some sort of filter onto it. So in Pixlr, you can adjust the color in two different ways. The one way is through temperature and tint. And this first part, which stands for color temperature, you can go one direction to make it warmer and kind of more orangey, warm daylight temperature. You can go in the opposite direction and make it a little bit more cool and cold. Again, push it to the extreme to see what it looks like, but then back it off of the extreme so that it's not like super orange or super red. And then tint is a little bit of the either red or teal green. The other way that you can adjust the color is through this filter, and then you would click on Effects Library. And here you have some more advanced features, whether you want to use some of the nature. It actually has some filters built in for nature. It looks like what that does is it makes it a little warmer. If you don't like it, just close it and then go back and pick maybe like a retro color. And it has some pretty funky, this gives it a warm, soft, warm tone. Maybe I'm gonna go to a black and white style, more vintage. Ooh, that looks weird. It looks very gross. Especially because this artwork is all about the color. Oh, I kind of like that, but I'm gonna go back and choose, keep that one, and just hit apply. So that is it. I've adjusted this picture for the 3 C's. So before I just upload it, I'm going to just go to File, Save, and I'll just download this one as eye level, and that way I know to attach it as my eye level version, and I'll just download. If you have any questions about how to edit your images, please email me. We can set up a time to meet. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing the photographs that you've taken, and have a great day.